All right, welcome to a new week of the CFO Swinger Watch. Welcome to all the new subscribers. If you guys don't know what this video is solely for the purpose of doing a technical analysis and showing guys what I'm looking at on a chart on all the names that are given on the watch list. All right, so let's start off with the overall markets. Okay, so SPY is what we look at for the overall markets, and as you guys have, if you guys are following the market movements, you guys should know that we're in all-time highs, right? And we are just simply just breaking out above the 422 level that we were watching a few weeks ago. Okay, and now we're heading right into the 430s to 440 range that I gave you guys about maybe a month ago. And it seems like we can most likely head to 440. And if we do, I will most likely see a nice correction to the downside. All right. And if you kind of look at the RSI here, or the relative strength index, okay, this is what I have in the bottom right here. Right. We are now a little bit overbought on the daily time frame. All right. And that kind of gives me a warning sign for the near term future. But for now, I am completely fine if we're overbought, because that just means that there's a lot of buying going into the markets. All right. So we can most likely start to see even more run to all-time high levels. All right. I mean, that we've been doing that for the past week or so, or week or more than a week here, I believe here. Yes. And this 10 SMA here has been doing really well to support this run up. Okay, this 10 SMA is this red line that I'm looking at right here. All right, now another type of market that I'm looking at is the XBI, or the biotech ETF. Okay, so as you guys all know, if you guys read last week's watch list, I am wanting to long this ETF here because as the coronavirus rages on, and as the vaccines are being distributed, and more people are taking the vaccines worldwide, I am wanting to see a lot of these major biotech names like J&J from last week's winner to continue up higher and higher and higher. So I don't want to, cherry pick individual biotech names. So I want to play the overall sector. Okay, so that's why I'm choosing XBI, which is the biotech ETF, to kind of look into going long on biotech names. All right, so with XBI here, we have a nice level that we broke out of around 134 to 135.50-ish. Okay, and it seems like we're right back into it. We came right back, and in order for us to kind of go up higher and continue this uptrend higher from this breakout of this falling wedge, we need to see a nice volume-backed bounce around 136. Okay, and we can start heading back towards 140 to 141. And once we break out of this major resistance, I want us to see us going back to the 150s. All right. And so, as you guys can possibly see now, I'm pretty bullish on all biotech names. All right. Since especially that I'm looking to long a biotech ETF. All right. Let's look at our first name. Okay. AMBA. All right. AMBA. All right. So first off, what we have here is we're looking at a inverse head and shoulders here on the daily time frame. Okay. If you guys don't know what that is, I will highly advise you to get my beginner's trading guide on my website. All right. You guys need to have a good foundation before you start trading. All right. This newsletter will not help unless you have a basic understanding and foundation of how things work in the stock market. All right. So this is a bullish chart pattern. All right, and we have a neckline area around 105-ish to around 107. Okay, this is our resistance area or supply zone. All right, and on last week we were just hanging around there. All right, we're hanging around this area of supply. Okay, and we're just forming a nice tighter range. All right, and if you look at the 2-hour time frame, the price range as each day went on is getting tighter and tighter as you're forming a little tiny flag here within this inverse cup and handle chart pattern. All right, so we have a macro, okay, chart pattern, which is the inverse head and shoulders on the daily time frame, and then we also have a micro chart pattern that's included inside this macro chart pattern, which is a nice bull pennant here. So we have two bullish chart patterns I'm looking at, right? So that gives me a bit more of a higher probability and higher confidence that this name can head up higher. Okay, so all we need to see is a break of 108 or even 107, all right, in order for us to continue up higher and continue this uptrend it's been having since, let's see here, since August to September of 2020. All right, so this is a nice huge run. Okay, and so when we had this dip, all right, this is gonna show us whether or not it wants to continue up higher and higher or continue to dip. Because if you reject hard from 107 or to 108, we'll most likely start heading lower and lower until we hit this 50 SMA on the weekly time frame, this dark blue line. All right, so this 50 SMA is what I use for support on the weekly time frame, especially if a name looks a bit oversold to the downside. All right, so now ABNB is a very popular name here. All right, so after we had a nice a bear flag bottom, okay, which is kind of rare here on the technical analysis point, where we're bottoming out by making a very nice bear flag, but instead of breaking to the downside, we actually broke up to the upside, completely negating this bear flag. All right, so after this little bounce up here, well, not really a little bounce, but it's a very huge bounce here from its lows of 129.71, which is kind of near the lows of the IPO here. All right. We are now coming to a nice little range again, and this range is getting tighter and tighter and tighter, especially if you look at a 2-hour time frame. But like I told you, this name can be a little bit wicky, right? It can turn 180 degrees in the middle of the day. All right, so you need to be watching out carefully on this name if you're wanting to play this, and you need to have a lot of patience. All right, so we need to see a full breakout above this 154.50ish to 155 area of resistance here, or area of supply, in order to see a huge squeeze to the upside back to the 160s. All right, and so I also see another support right here. All right, but in order for us to kind of continue this upside movement that we had when we broke out of this bear flag to the upside, we need to see these major support areas hold. So around right here, which is around 148 if I round it up, and around 145 if I round it up as well. Okay, so those are two crucial support areas that buyers need to defend in order for this name to continue up higher. If that breaks, we'll most likely see lower highs being made as we start heading lower and lower, and possibly break the IPO lows and the low that was made around this bear flag formation. Okay, J&J, which is our last name here. So J&J was an absolute incredible winner. Congrats to everyone who traded this name, especially to Ray, which is a great achievement for you. So congrats to you on that. But J&J, all right, it looks like it can give us more opportunities here, especially since I did not see enough of a volume-backed breakout here. Okay, with this breakout, I should be seeing a lot more volume compared to the past year. All right, but since I don't see this volume breakout, all right, I am going to expect some type of a small pullback. Okay, and so if you have a pullback, we could say a slight pullback back to 168, or maybe even a complete pullback to a previous level of resistance around 165.80ish, or if I round it up to 166, all right, and use that as new support so that we can retest, bounce, and continue an uptrend higher. All right, and ultimately and hopefully to all-time high levels. All right, so let's look at the extra names that I'm looking at. So Tesla is a name that I'm looking at here, and Tesla has been consolidating, okay, going sideways since last week. All right, and this is looking like a very nice little tiny textbook flag. All right, if I look at the 2-hour time frame, all right, we're looking at a very textbook flag. All right, however, the only thing that's kind of holding me off from trying to long this name is that the price continues to reject hard at flag resistance, which is around a whole number of 700, or around 697.50 to 700. All right, on Friday. that's exactly what we saw. All right, when it hit that 700.00 level, that whole number level, it immediately rejected, and we stayed near the flag support throughout the rest of the day. This tells me that sellers are very much strong, all right, and they're pushing back the buyers. But if I was a buyer, okay, and I was looking to want to long this name, I would want to squeeze out the sellers and pushing out the sellers and pushing the price higher and higher, all right, above 700, because the sellers are seriously just waiting here for whenever the price comes up in order to slap it right back down. All right, so we want to see some type of squeeze above 700. So if I were to play this name in the long term, I want to see a confirmed breakout above 700. If I don't see anything else, I am not going to play this name. All right. But if it breaks this crucial support around 669 or 670 to around 673, all right, then we can most likely start heading back down and fill this gap that was made when we gapped up above this symmetrical triangle chart pattern that we're looking at on the daily. All right. So, if it fills the gap and it goes back down, it is what it is. And, you can't be too biased on a name, especially if the chart is telling you where the trend is going. So make sure you guys are looking at the price action, the volume, and following the trend only. All right. So the next name that I'm looking at is CAT. Okay, and CAT is something that I'm already long in for disclaimer. Okay, so I'm a little bit biased. So with CAT here, CAT is also involved in those major manufacturing names, industrial names, excuse me, as Biden has passed that really big infrastructure deal. All right, where we're trying to upheaval the old infrastructure of the whole country of the United States and start to build a new and better infrastructure for the public. All right, and so this is potentially great news for CAT. Now, for CAT here, it has a very similar bottoming technique after this initial sell-off from this huge run it had since late 2020s. Okay, so with this bottoming action, it kind of looks like what we saw in Airbnb, all right, on the daily time frame. Okay, so with this name, I'm expecting a breakout, okay, above, if I go to the 2-hour time frame, okay, at least a nice breakout above 219 or 218, and so that we can negate this bear flag and continue to move up higher once again. All right, so if we do see a nice breakout above 219 or 218, I want to see a quick move to 222 or 221.90 to be a bit more accurate, right? And the reason why I want to see a quick move to the upside to 221 or 222 is that that's telling me that buyers are back, all right? And there's going to be a quick momentum shift to the upside. Okay, so MOMO and SoFi were names that were given last week, the extra names I'm looking at, and MOMO is still looking relatively good. Okay, so with MOMO, it's considered the Chinese version of Tinder, all right, online dating. And this name is looking to have a nice little squeeze above this huge base that it's been making since September of last year, all right, after this initial sell-off. Okay, so I want to see a nice squeeze back above into the 20s, back at this previous peak here around 20.17. All right, so that we can see a nice squeeze, a potential squeeze above 20s as well. All right, so this is a name I'm also still in, okay, because my entry was around this candlestick right here. Okay, so my stop loss still hasn't been hit yet, but if it does hit, I will respect that stop loss. And if you guys don't know what a stop loss is, please look into getting my book or joining my 4 weeks program or doing my one-on-one mentorship. Okay, one-on-one mentorship is amazing. I tend to really focus in and pinpoint what your errors are in trading and help you out to really grow as a trader. All right. So if you guys want to look at all of those options, just go to my website on Instagram. All right. Now, SoFi. Okay, SoFi Technologies. Okay, so this is a company that really does, well, literally everything as a fintech company, a financial technology company. And so far, it hasn't been doing too well. I'm still seeing a lot of selling pressure, but we're back at previous levels of resistance around $18. So if we see enough buying come in, we can potentially bounce at $18, which could warrant a nice bounce entry and could give us a nice swing back up into the 20s. All right. And, if you want to take profits around $20, go for it. But we need to see a confirmed bounce around 18 so that we can have a new support from a previous old resistance around $18. All right. But if it loses this $18, we can continue to go lower and make lower highs and lower lows until we hit this critical area of support around $14 and $15. All right. So those are some whole number levels that you need to be watching for. All right. If we break this $14 level again, like we did right here, we could potentially see a lot more buying coming compared to using this $18 level as a new support. All right. So that is it for the stock picks for this week. All right. I bid you guys good luck. Now, let's look at my cryptocurrency pick for the week. All right. I'm going to be looking at Ethereum Classic. All right. And the reason why I'm choosing Ethereum Classic is that it's still relatively cheap and it's retraced really, really far back from the highs here. All right. And, the more name retraces back from its huge, huge highs, okay, the better I like it for a higher probability of a reversal. Okay. And so we have an evidence that this name wants to reverse back in June of 29th, okay? June 29th here, as we saw a lot of buying come in from the 40s, mid 40s, all the way up to almost 60s here, or above 60s actually, okay? And for now, it seems like we're trying to form some type of a weird flag here, weird bull flag, all right? So, and I always teach my students in the Forex program that if you see an empty or naked chart, the first thing you need to do is start charting. All right, so this is exactly what I'm going to do. All right, so we're going to start charting on the daily time frame first. All right, and so it's going to be kind of messy, but I want to kind of give you guys a good rough estimate of the levels that I'm looking at here. All right, so I've got my horizontal levels down here for the most part. Okay, and now I'm going to look at the intraday time frames. So this 2-hour time frame here that I love looking at. Okay, and it seems like we have an ascending support here. Okay, which is why I said that there is some type of flag forming just through the use of my naked eye. There we go. And so we have this nice bull flag or bull pennant here forming. So we can potentially see a pop up above $60 here again, if we're able to break this descending line of resistance, this trend line here, the flag. All right, so I would say around 57 to 58 would be a nice area for a long entry for this cryptocurrency. Okay, so just off a technical analysis point, okay, this looks like a great trade in the long term. All right, for any cryptocurrency people who love to trade crypto. All right, okay, so that is it for this week. Please make sure you guys aren't putting on too much risk because the market is at all-time highs, and we will never know. I mean, even I will never know when the market can potentially come back down or correct. All right, but for now, let's follow the trend, and the trend is confirmed to the upside. So keep on following the trend. All right, have a great rest of your week, and good luck.